Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. And there's a whole lot of Java today. We are going to be here for the next 90 minutes. Shout out to our Union Capital members who will receive. You all got a lot of points this week with 2 shows Monday, 2 shows yesterday, 3 shows today. Well, let's call today segments. In our first segment today, we are honored, and it's been a long time coming. We've been working with them for a few months, starting out with the wonderful weekends they had, I believe, in October around Parked up at Franklin Park. And so I see one of my guests in the background shaking their head that I got it right. But I've had the honor to work with and be familiar with Commonwealth Kitchen for quite a while. And I want to thank Jess Mermel, who is responsible for bringing us together. And so we have a lot to accomplish today. And so do me a favor before I bring my guest in to talk about the Mass 250 gift box that they have that you can gift to people over the holidays. I wanted to ask you to go ahead and share this live. And I know, a lot of people are going to jump in at 10 o'clock, but jump in earlier because this is one of the things that the mayor believes in small businesses. We just seen an article about workforce development and whatnot. And so this is an example of that. And so first I'm going to bring in a young lady. I saw one of our guests pop out, but I'm going to bring in a young lady that I have seen and in community for a few years now. And let's just say, I don't know why when I came by yesterday that I didn't pick up a red Commonwealth Kitchen sweater.
I might be able to hook you up with one. Let's just say that.
I'll stay in brand for today, but it's the red. Courtney, good morning. We have a lot to accomplish in the next few minutes, but please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Commonwealth Kitchen. And there's a lot of intentionality with this Mass 250 box, and I really want you to hone in on that. And then we're going to bring our guest in 2 seconds. And then, as you all like to do, I didn't bring a spoon, but I have some things that I may sample today that these businesses have curated for me in a wonderful. Let me just show you the box.
Oh, excellent!
Look, everybody, and I'm going to go full screen for 1 second, Courtney. Look what I got. I don't know why I just thought of Stuart from but let's talk about what you're doing, what you've done, Courtney, and Commonwealth Kitchen, and the intentionality around BIPOC folks who of immigrant descent, focusing on this and it representing the Mass 250 is just in these times amazing. And so, Courtney, I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. It's so good to see you. So I'm Courtney Roy Brannigan. I'm the Chief Impact Officer at Commonwealth Kitchen. We are a small culinary incubator in Dorchester, Massachusetts. And we're very excited about our holiday gift box this year. So we've been doing these boxes for about 5 or 6 years now, if I remember correctly. And given that we're, celebrating a big anniversary here in the state of Massachusetts, 250 years, what does that look like? It looks different to everyone depending on where you're sitting, right? And if you're sitting at the table, we decided to tell that story of Massachusetts and all the incredible diversity of businesses and people and contributions to our culture. We decided to tell that story through food. So this year, our box features a number of products that are inspired not only by the Boston Revolution, which a lot of people know about, and we've gone beyond, as we like to joke about, the sort of tri-cornered hat focus, although we did put one on the little dog on the front, which happens to be a Boston Terrier, the official dog of Massachusetts. What can I say? I love dogs. So, we also decided to focus on firsts. So there's some products in one of the businesses, Boston Cookie Kitchen, that you have here today as a few cookies in the box. And those are some of the cookies that we've gotten in the box. They were imagined here in Massachusetts and brought to life in Massachusetts. Commonwealth Kitchen Mostly, about 80% of our businesses are immigrant owned and founded, operated. We're very proud of that. And so we wanted to tell the story of Massachusetts as it is and not maybe how people have traditionally learned it in seventh grade history. There's a lot of diversity and richness and culture in that. And so it's another way to do that through food.
I am excited, and you mentioned the two folks. I'm going to bring them in a couple of seconds. I will say that you definitely, we have two brothers here, but you are representing the sisters, and let's just say that we know that women are a high percentage of our entrepreneurs. But I just wanted to acknowledge that because
Yes.
probably a couple of your women entrepreneurs are there at Commonwealth Kitchen preparing.
Yes.
So you
for
all
sure.
do just real quick. You support people with food trucks. You did the park thing, and just give us about 10 seconds of what else you do. Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Incubate.
Entrepreneurship. We also work with a lot of small farmers. If they have bumper crops or, sort of ugly tomatoes, as we all know, they can't sell them. We'll buy them up rather than let them go to waste. So there's an environmental focus to what we do as well. And advocacy. Our CEO and founder, Jen Fagel, is amazing. And she gets out there and she advocates with funders and the state, governor, mayor's office, works in partnership with them, not only to support entrepreneurs and small businesses, but for other parts of our work, which is about supporting the local economy and working on making sure people understand the importance of our local food systems, even more so now than ever before.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Courtney, you're my co-host today. So as my co-host, let's get ready to introduce our guests, two brothers that you have supported there at Commonwealth Kitchen. And the first one is going to be Tehran, who I am excited about. I'm not a sweets guy, but I'm definitely going to mess with the cookies. But he does some chutneys and some other things. And then Daniel has a guest there. We're going to have get him all set to get on screen, and then we'll bring him on. Okay. Daniel and Tehran, good to see both of you. Welcome to Java with Jimmy. And
thank you.
Jump in real
Good
quick.
to be here.
Thank you. Real quick, I'm going to ask you to give us your name, the name of your business, and describe in one word the help that you received and support that you've received from Commonwealth Kitchen. So Tehran, you first, your name, the name of your business, and in one word, how has the support been with Commonwealth Kitchen?
So my name is Tarun Bhala. I am co-owner and co-founder of Meal Mantra with my wife, Anu. We started in 2017. And if I was to, I don't know, if one word to describe the help that Commonwealth Kitchen has been to our business, I don't know if all encompassing is one word.
You don't know if go ahead.
But
you could get away with a few there. I get it. Go ahead.
yeah, so when one is looking to venture into a field that one knows little about, packaged food for us. We've never been in this business or knew anything about it. So, and coming to a new land, where does one find information, help? One is trying to navigate life in a new land, let alone starting a business. So Commonwealth Kitchen, I cannot use enough words to say and describe the amazing help they provide. Not only with facilities, but with navigating the ecosystem. This is a industry or a field that is that has to comply with FDA regulations. One has to get a scheduled process. One has to do studies on the food, get shelf life. There's
ISD.
packaging, so many things to navigate. And if
Definitely.
you've never done it in your life, how do you navigate those hoops?
We're glad that they were able to help you do that, Tehran. And so, Daniel, I'm going to ask you as well, if you could introduce yourself and your business, and then give us, all right, you don't have to do one word. Tehran has set a precedence, and so you can give us a couple of words if you would like. But Daniel, tell us your name, the name of your business, and just that word and some context as to, the support you've received from Commonwealth Kitchen.
Sure. So my name is Daniel Ibokwe, the owner and head baker of Boston Cookie Kitchen. And the help from Commonwealth Kitchen has just been relentless. There's a lot of hiccups. It's the holiday times, for example. So if there's a mix up in the kitchen or if there's something going on, they're always there to support, help companies and, help us be the best companies that we could.
And additionally, similar to what Tehran said, have you found, navigating the systems? I mentioned ISD and different things like that. There may be loans or, small business, loans or whatever that you get. Have you had the same experience with navigating the ecosystem?
Yeah. So like you're treading waters that you haven't been in. And like Commonwealth Kitchen, they're experienced. They have all the they literally have all the experience. They have staff to help you in every sector. If it means financial, for loans, for just staff support, and so be it. They're really great at, helping us out, sending us emails and information on stuff for us so we can, make things happen.
Thank you for that. I was there yesterday and I got to just for 2 seconds sort of see like the operation. You all had like multiple kitchens and things like that. And so, Courtney, we're going to, as I said, we have a box that I'm going to open. The mayor's going to join us shortly as well. Hopefully she can get in on time and at least be able to see if there were a couple of favorite things that she liked. And these are, so let's just talk about the product. And also, folks, we have an announcement to share with you today. Commonwealth Kitchen has been very favorable toward the Java family. And so I did, for those of you that are watching and looking in the comments, I did put the link. If you're watching on James, I put the link on that page in the comments. And also if you're watching on Java with Jimmy, I put it there as well. And so you can go and get the box. And so Courtney, tell us a little bit about the box, the variation. I'm going to bring it up here so I can follow along with you. And I'm going to get ready to go ahead and I'm going to get ready to open. But I know the people, they're waiting for me to see because they get a kick out of. And Daniel, they would have loved for me to attempt to try to pronounce your last name on the first one because they love for me. I hate it to butcher people's names, but all right, Courtney, tell us about the box.
Yes.
And I'm going to grab mine here and get ready to
Oh, excellent.
I'm excited. I'm going to get ready to open it.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yes. So the box features not only Tarun's delicious cranberry chutney, Daniel's amazing cookies, the Fluffernutter and the Joe Frogger cookie. We have a chocolate chip cookie. Actually, fun fact, chocolate chips were, the chocolate chip cookie was invented in Massachusetts. So we have a fantastic business. Clark's Cookies and Cakes. You can find them at Snowport right now. It's a vegan, gluten-free chocolate chip cookie. It is delicious. And I am a meat eater. And so I sort of am like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I could not tell the difference. It's so good. We also took an opportunity to feature some of our own products that we make ourselves at Commonwealth Kitchen. We have a phenomenal a co-manufacturing team headed up by Kevin Doherty. So he's created in partnership with Bully Boy Distilleries out of Roxbury a delicious barbecue sauce. It's a cranberry bourbon barbecue with local cranberries. And he was very excited about it. It's yummy, but I think we might have our first regional barbecue sauce here in Massachusetts. I'm not sure. There might be another one out there, but that's pretty cool. So lots of great stuff.
A whole lot of great. Hold on, because I'm just a little overwhelmed over here. Y'all need. Hold on. Let me.
There's a lot in there.
No disrespect to my guests, but I need you all to see this. Hold on for 1 second. Jesus. Well, I almost said a word that I shouldn't say on camera. So okay, hold on, because there's a lot of stuff you all would definitely. And I'm going to tease the mayor. Because she can as the mayor, she can only receive up to a certain amount of gifts, and you all abided by that. However, my box. So here is the Joe Frogger that is by Daniel, and also Tehran. You're going to have to wait a minute because I believe yours is wrapped up because it needs to be chutney. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. So good, and we love our chutneys in Massachusetts.
It's a cranberry tomato chutney. So Tehran, give me a couple of seconds of what this. I obviously
Sure.
Is tomato But get what am
So
open it. I don't want to open it.
it's a fusion chutney. As you might know, so my wife and I come from India, and there are no cranberries in India. So you know, Boston has been our chosen and adopted home, and the state of Massachusetts, and the chutney is actually a COVID baby. So you know,
I am a
during,
COVID baby too. Ron, this started
so
in COVID. Oh, go
So
ahead. Go
my
ahead. I'm sorry.
wife, she's very creative. You know, we had not much to do during all those days that in the lockdowns and things were happening, you know, where you needed to keep yourself busy. And we found meaning in family, in food, and in pursuits of creation. And, you know, so at that time, there was some news. That's when some trade wars, and apparently China is a big market for cranberries. And during that time, they stopped buying cranberries from us, and it hit our local farmers quite badly. So we thought, you know, there's so much one can do with food. And so the cranberry chutney was really born of, the pursuit of something to do and something creative to do during COVID, during the idle hours. And guess what?
What?
It won the Sophie Award the following year in the condiment section. That's
Oh wow.
the Sophie Awards are really the
They're big.
really desirable achievement of in the food industry that one aspires to, because it's all
Awesome.
blind tasted, and they get about 3,000
Ooh,
entries a year. So that was the winner for
congratulations.
2021.
Congratulations on that, Tehran. And so, Tehran, you gave us a little base in the mission and how this started. Daniel, how did you go to, and give us a little context of the name? Where's my cook? Oh, so the Joe Frogger is that the Boston Cookie Kitchen? But Joe, okay, tell us about Boston Cookie Kitchen and its origin, and then tell us the Joe Frogger. So, Courtney, the way I am. There's a young lady that makes my attire, and she'll send a box and I'll hold it for like 2 weeks. So I'm gonna try to hold on to these, but go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead, Daniel.
So Boston Cookie Kitchen started about 3 years ago. It's also a pandemic baby.
We're all pandemic babies here. No, never ever in the 5+ years I've been doing this. A couple of people have said they started during COVID, but we've never bonded around the fact that I guess the COVID. Go ahead, Daniel.
But yeah, like so during that time, I'm at home. I just graduated college. Just chilling. My sister was buying cookies from local, businesses out here, and they weren't the best, honestly. So I thought, like,
no shade, no shade, right?
No shade. No, I'm not naming no one. So I being a good brother, I made her some cookies, and she loved them. And she basically was like, "Yo, you can sell these. They're probably like some of the best cookies I've had." And so she started posting the pictures on Instagram. We started posting videos and giving out cookies too, because of the cottage food laws in Massachusetts. We couldn't exactly sell our first year, so we started just giving away cookies like every month, and we started building a great fan base. Support to the BCK fam, and now we're close to about 10,000 followers and a bunch of people loving our cookies, and it's a great time.
Courtney doesn't like this because it's a mess now, because I've been over here.
I just want to go in and
it was beautiful. It's a beautiful box. And so, Courtney, let's go ahead and tell, because I want to make sure we have enough time to let folks know that you all were gracious to us. Thank you to Daniel and Tehran and others that are part of this. But Java with Jimmy family, if you go to the link, thanks to the graciousness of Commonwealth Kitchen and their partners, if you use the code MA250_Java, you get 10% off. And so, Courtney, let's definitely go over the price point, because I know my audience. The price point is $90. Is that
yes?
But it's also, I mean, This is. I mean, if you were buying this stuff separately, I think you would end up paying a lot more.
Yes.
So let's talk about the price point. And just this is. Some
Yeah.
It's thick. You can it's not no runny. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's true.
And also let me just ask, does this go back to support Commonwealth Kitchen and the businesses? And awesome.
Yes,
Tell us
100% of the net proceeds support the entrepreneurs, support operations. The box is $90, and that also includes shipping. I just want to say that we'll ship. That includes shipping anywhere in the United States. You do that code, you get 10% off. It makes a great gift. You're supporting a nonprofit. You get to sort of taste Massachusetts history from a fresh way. So
not a fresh way, in an old way, because I think what you're bringing out here that our immigrant. First of all, a lot of people that came here that are in Massachusetts now of immigrant descent, and so
yes,
and let's not even get into the native land piece. But the only reason why I said not necessarily fresh, it's a different experience because we're known for the tea party and baked beans and stuff like that, and cranberries as well, Tehran. But there is a rich culture of diversity from sweets to this. I don't know if this is going to make it. To be very honest, this I still got a little bit of coffee left, and. So, Tehran, is this for pasta, or can I use it as a?
You can use it as a condiment. You can use it as a spread.
So hold on for 1 second.
People have it with boiled eggs.
Really?
I mean,
okay, seafood boil. Okay, all right. Courtney, can we make a deal?
Yes.
If I taste these on camera, can I get another cookie and another chutney? I don't want to open it.
Yes, we can work that out for sure. You've got to taste them. They're excellent.
My ISD people, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I know Daniel can talk about this a little bit better than I can, but the Joe Frogger
I need you to
cookie,
talk for about 1 minute, and I'm going to go get me a spoon.
Oh, okay, sounds good. So the Joe Frogger cookie is actually made with molasses, and very cool backstory on that. Of course, molasses, we know the story of the Great Molasses Flood in Boston, but the Joe Frogger cookie actually has roots in the American Revolution and was a recipe that was created by an African-American tavern owner. And so it's kind of a cool way that we're recreating that history and bringing it forward. And the recipe, as we all know, recipes are interpreted, passed down in families over time, and some are, some you hold faithful to, and some you add your own twist. I know my Nana, is very careful about who she shares her tomato sauce recipe with, and we have a tomato sauce in the box as well, as a nod to the North End. So there's a lot of interesting, sort of ingredients and recipe stories there.
So, in order for us to post-production clip this up right,
yes,
I'm going to go on. So, well, no, I want to see y'all's reaction to my reaction. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is savory, and I'll do the dessert after. All right, here we go, y'all. This is. You're very smart, Tehran. You put her picture on the jar.
Yeah.
Happy wife. Happy life.
Mine won't work.
All right. This is Neil Mantra cranberry tomato chutney that I am trying right now, live on camera.
And Anu's pictures on the jar.
All right. So I've been hanging around Nia Grace a lot. So, I'm into flavor profiles and all that. Initially, it's sweet. Then it's savory. You get the spices. You can feel some of the spices. You get the tomato. Hold on.
There's some mango there too.
So that's the sweet. Oh my God. The first taste was after the first thing I had after I brushed my teeth. So the second. Oh, okay. All right. The mayor is doing so. I want to give her some time if she comes in as well. But I'm going to go ahead. And Courtney, you promised me I'm going to get another cookie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Daniel, I will be honest. My sweets. Ooh.
Yeah.
We're not going to turn this to a Java After Dark, but I just touched it. And I was like, all right, here we go. So you all know I partnered with GBH. My old producer, first time I ate on camera, after the show, she came to me and she said, there's actually classes for journalists to learn how to eat on camera. I know I know I probably just broke every rule. First of all, Daniel, first bite. I'm not a cookie guy. I'm just not. I'll be honest with you. And Jesus, God.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
All good, all good. Yeah, we specialize in modern gourmet cookies. So you know, a lot of people like to spin on the term modern, or you know, or New York style baked cookies. We like to elevate flavors and prioritize that versus, like, you know, the textures and the thickness. We try to really, you know, elevate every flavor profile of the cookie. And hopefully you could taste like every, you know, the fresh butter, the fresh eggs, you know.
I don't know if I want to taste the eggs in a cookie, but I taste the molasses. I taste the, what is that? Is and I know you may not put nuts in it, but what is there's a earthy, what is that? It's sweet. It is good, but it's rich.
Yeah,
like a decadent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
So we actually use an extra yolk in our cookies, which give it like that texture and that consistency. Like, despite baking it hard, the cookies are always going to remain soft in the middle, you know.
Okay.
And we season it, so it's perfectly salted and balanced with the sugar. So it's we enhance flavors in Boston Cookie Kitchen.
Okay. The mayor's getting ready to join us in a second. I did find out she's the mayor, so she's not stable. She's actually en route, and she just popped out. So not only the box, but the signal today may be interesting. But I'm sure she'll pass word back. I'll let her know. Now, what does she get? Because she didn't get everything. Let me just be petty for a minute. The mayor didn't get everything I got. What does she get?
I think, you know, I think the honestly, I mean, I think there's so many good little treats in there. I mean, I know she's a mom. I'm a mom too. You know, there's some stickers in there for kids or anyone that loves stickers. There's coasters. There's pantry staples. We have a delicious stone ground corn flour in there as well. So, you know, you can also use the box to make some holiday treats, or you can get them ready made.
Mayor, I'm sitting up here being petty this morning because I know plans change for you, and I don't know if you saw your box or whatever, but you know, you can't have all the stuff that I have. My box has more stuff. But I just wanted to give it, what, Mayor?
Share the holiday spirit with the rest of us.
Yes, Mayor. I wanted to give you the opportunity. We're going to get into it, but a recent article dropped and talked about workforce development, small businesses, and you shifted, and I'm sure the city works with Commonwealth Kitchen. And so would you like to just say any? So Daniel is Mayor. Daniel has these cookies that are Mayor ridiculous. And then I got a Mayor. I don't know if you have this, but I got a mango. I got a tomato. Hold on, a cranberry tomato chutney that is sweet. Anyway, Mayor, please greet them. You all say Daniel, Teron, and I'm sure you know Courtney. Say hello, and then we got to jump into some business with the mayor.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Mayor Wu.
Good morning, everyone.
Mayor, how is it to see demonstration of the investment that you made in workforce development?
It's incredible. And, you know, sometimes even some of the media coverage has been a little bit, I always try to push back because it's not either or. It's not either you develop people or you develop, you know, the spaces and buildings. We need all of it, of course, but I always believe that it starts with people. It starts with making sure our families have what they need with the highest quality of life, safety, schools, clean and beautiful streets, and great jobs. And at a time when everything can feel like it's so much up in the air, having real pathways to get our community plugged in, to help people not just put food on their own tables, but contribute to the city and create something new and amazing and beautiful. That's what Boston's been about for 400 years now. So I'm excited to see this 250th box.
Definitely. I was just going to say, Mary, you got me, because I was going to say, well, we got this is a 250 box. And so Courtney, Daniel, and Teron, thank you all so much for being with us this morning. Again, I'm sure the mayor will, and Mayor, you probably do like Mayor Menino. She can't get all the stuff. She will take the stuff that works for Mira and her. But
Yes.
I'm sure some other folks at City Hall will benefit as well. So Daniel, Teron, and Courtney, thank you all for that. Mayor, we will go into the holiday spirit, and I won't gloat in the fact that I got barbecue sauce, I got cookies, I got flour, pasta, I got Courtney, Daniel, Teron, again, thank you all, and we will definitely be in touch.
Awesome.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Have
Take
a great
care.
day, all of you. Absolutely, absolutely.
See
So,
you guys.
Mayor, let's get ready. I don't usually jump right in with you, but let's go ahead and jump right in. And one of the things that I just talked about, and this article came out, well, there's a couple of articles that came out, and it's all kind of tied together. One of the things is the taxes. Taxes are getting ready to go up. Well, you, Mayor, almost 2 years. Remember the day you was in here? I think it was October of 23, and you started talking about commercial buildings and offices and whatnot. And I literally said, Mayor, stop. Are you predicting some sort of? And then you went and tried to do what you needed to do. So I'm going to allow you just a little bit time, with all due respect, to just go back, and this could have been avoided. Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah. So I think
I won't hold
there
you that long.
are two things that I think are really important here. One, and everyone knows this, housing costs are just way too high. And we have to remember that housing costs are not just what you pay every month for your rent or your mortgage. It's what you have to pay to live in that house there also, right? The property taxes, whether you're the homeowner and you're paying the taxes directly, or you're a renter and your landlord is paying the taxes, then asking for that out of your rent and it comes out of your pocket. It's energy costs. It's a lot of things that all contribute to feeling a greater and greater sense of stress and impossibility of how do I balance and juggle everything. So number one is property taxes are a big part of housing costs. They're already too high. We have to do everything that we can to lower them. And the second thing is that in Massachusetts, unlike in many other places around the country, cities can't control what we set as our own taxes. It's defined by state law. It is very strict and rigid, and it creates a situation where when commercial values go down, like is happening around the country because of Trump's tariffs, because of interest rates, because of remote work, in Boston and Massachusetts, that means that all of that tax revenue that the commercial properties had been paying, they're now getting a big tax break, and instead residents are making up for it. So we said this was going to happen before. We had put forward a multiple year, we actually proposed a 5-year plan to help ease this so that it wouldn't have made the increase go on businesses. Instead, all it would have done is, instead of giving a massive tax break for businesses, they get a slightly smaller one. And then instead of a massive tax spike for residents, we get protected on the residential side. Mayor Menino did this in 2004 when something similar was happening in the economy, and it passed and it worked and it was great. And that's why we had talked to folks who were in City Hall back then, and they said, absolutely, this is the right time to do this. We passed it twice by the city council, twice by the House of Representatives, and then it got blocked before even getting a vote by a single state senator. In the meantime, the Senate had told us to negotiate with these 4 business groups and come to a deal with them. And if we came to a deal with them, they were good. We did that. They agreed to a compromise. We cut it down to 3 years instead of 5. And we agreed that we should do everything that we could, because it helps businesses too when their customers, their workforce, their community doesn't get priced out of the city. It matters to businesses also when our residents can afford to live in Boston. So they had agreed, we don't want to have double-digit tax increases. That is not okay. And then at the end, they backed out of a deal when they said the numbers ended up not looking so bad. But we know now that that wasn't true. The numbers were bad. We ended up at almost 10.5% increase last year. This next year will now be at 13%.
13, yep.
And
And
this is now, that will be the 8th year in a row of an increase more than 5%, which is just unsustainable. And it's avoidable. And it comes because we're actually subsidizing corporate taxpayers.
Mayor, this is the thing that you had tried to call out, and there was a whole bunch of commentary about the effort. We know there was purposeful attempts to stop this, and I compared it to what they did with the national. They tried to make it a talking point, for you not to get elected, and we see how that panned out. The other piece I want to tie into that, Mayor, is that there is the local impact of what's going on out of your control. There's another thing that's out of your control with the federal government. You decide, and let's just say again, I'm glad that we have a mayor that's a lawyer. You're suing the Trump administration. Can you talk about and to let us know if that I think it's $29 million suit, does that cover which another article I saw is that BHA you put 40 million in, I believe, already to subsidize BHA. Then so there was another article that came out that said that BHA payments that need to be made to those that have BHA certificates are at risk. Is that part of that $29 million suit?
So unfortunately, that's a whole separate bucket, and that we're just facing attacks from the federal administration from so many angles all at once. This is not the first lawsuit we've had that we've entered into with the Trump administration. I don't think it will be the last one. We're in this one with, I think it's 11 other cities, because what they're doing, they're trying to do everywhere. The lawsuit is about funding that is called the Continuum of Care grant. Cities have gotten it for decades. It usually goes to tackle homelessness. And Boston has been at the forefront of helping cities everywhere think about how to actually fix homelessness and not just manage it or put Band-Aids on it, but end it. And the way you do that isn't just by opening more shelter beds. It's actually by creating permanent supportive housing where people can get on their feet, get the medical support they need, get job training, and then end up earning an income and having a way to live fully on their own and independently. So the Pine Street Inn, for example, a national leader, they have now more permanent supportive beds than they do temporary shelter beds. And what this lawsuit would do is, last year we had already sued around the same grant because we'd already gotten the money under the Biden administration, but then before it was delivered to us, the Trump administration was saying, well, now you can only give it out to, exclude the LGBTQ community, exclude quote unquote anything related to DEI. And so we sued and said, you already gave us the money, you can't have us not serve certain communities with it. We won that lawsuit and were able to use those funds fully last year. Now, this year, when we have to apply again to renew it, they're saying now when you apply from the beginning, because they can't do the exclusionary thing, the court already said, they're trying a different angle, which is you can't use this money for supportive housing and permanent housing. It has to only go for more shelter uses, which is, is just not even the way to actually fix the underlying problem that the money is supposed to be there to do. So we're pushing back. We're going at this with other cities, and we're building a lot of muscle on this front because they've been taking a lot of actions that are disguised as policy but are actually illegal and outside the authority of the president and the White House to do.
Mayor, when you made a decision to run for a second term, did you, and you knew what was potentially, the administration looking like it's looking now. How much of what's going on, and we can talk a little bit about your vision and what it is that you would like to accomplish in your second term. How is this? Is it altering? Is it what? And then tell us a little bit of your priorities. We know what housing is one of them. How are you managing and getting ready for your second term in these times?
So on the one hand, it's not, you can't deny that it takes a whole lot of energy and resources to be fighting battles that we don't need to be fighting, and to try to deal with issues that really are kind of manufactured, right? Even the SNAP benefits crisis from a couple weeks ago, that was entirely unnecessary. It just was something that under previous federal government shutdowns, when they were having temporary shutdowns, those benefits were still paid under every administration, Republican or Democrat. So this was just kind of another crisis that was created that we had to then deal with at the state and local level. So on the one hand, it does take a lot, and part of me is always frustrated when I feel like there's so many things that we could be doing and doing faster and harder and more, and we have to spend time almost going backwards and fighting battles that should have been settled a long time ago. On the other hand, kind of like during the pandemic, sometimes when you have to deal with a problem right away and it's big and it's immediate and urgent, you can choose to deal with it as a band-aid, or you can choose to say, this is something that we needed to fix anyway before. Let's use this as an opportunity to really fix it, right? So with SNAP benefits, people were already hungry before this whole crisis. The SNAP benefits themselves weren't enough every month to get everyone fresh and healthy food. And there are many people who are working incomes and don't qualify who were still coming to food pantries and experiencing hunger. So that sort of gave us the momentum to really bring people to the table across all our communities and inside City Hall, other levels of government, outside, community organizations. And now we're taking steps around food security with even more urgency, even after that crisis had been resolved, at least temporarily resolved. And it's good for the long run too. That's my silver lining.
No. I mean, but here's the thing that everyone knows that and sometimes personally, politically, policy, or whatever, you will not move until you are satisfied that everything is straight. And so we've talked about that before as well. Would you agree? And I'm just thinking about this, Mayor. Would you agree that, as you mentioned to COVID, and also right now, that you may have the political will to do some things, and you use the word momentum or motivation? Do you really think it's the political will of others that now, because of a crisis, they're more likely to come together and convene? Are you saying that your purpose is not, as you said, Band-Aid, but there's intentionality for long term? Sometimes that may not look as well as a short-term remedy, but you're being strategic. Nia and I talked about strategically intentional and intentionally strategic. Is that the model that you're going to be moving more in your second term? And then another part to that, Mayor, is that your administration knows that. How will you communicate that intentionality to the everyday people that aren't as quick, and because of the things that you said, aren't as quick to interpret? It looks one way, but really long term, 2 years from now, they're going to be like, well, damn, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah. I guess, okay, I want to say two things on this. One, in terms of the strategically intentional, intentionally strategic, if you think about big problems that sometimes, the really big, hugely impactful things that still don't feel like they're the immediate fires of the day, right? Climate change is one of these where we are growing more vulnerable by the right. Floodwaters get higher more often now. Morrissey Boulevard is just totally flooded over. More often in the summer, we are going above 90 degrees or even 100 degrees with the heat index in Boston, just kind of on a recurring basis over the summer. And it just means that we need to do something big. But at the same time, when we go and look around the world for the examples where there's something that's been fixed about climate, everywhere that there's been some big idea or some major fix, it's because something horrible happened, like a big tragedy happened, a big flood where lots of lives were lost. And then they realized they had to deal with how to manage the waters there, or a big heat wave that caused a lot of suffering, or lives were lost as well, and then they changed how they did things. So the key for all of what we're trying to do is, how do we get to the sense of urgency that comes from after a crisis has hit before that crisis has to happen? And it's hard. And then the second thing I wanted to say was, a lot of that, as you say, is about community being engaged and knowing what's going on, the flow of information, the opportunities to hear and listen directly from community, and then plug people right into taking action in their own way, is what we're trying to do. So this is one little thing that we are planning, but in the new year and in the new term, we're going to do something called mayor's office hours, right? And I get to see a lot of people all around the city. Usually it's at an event, and then someone will pull me aside, and actually they have an issue that needs to be solved that the city can either directly solve, or we can connect them to where they could get support for that. But if I had to leave that event a little bit early to run to the next event, that conversation wouldn't have happened. And, you know, I want people to know that there's a space for those individual things too. And we learn a lot from that, because then that adds up to the bigger trends of, okay, this is an issue everywhere we got to solve.
And it was
Yeah.
Sonia Diaz some years ago that told me that once you get 10 calls or emails,
Yeah.
and it's the number of it's the issue. And so, Mayor, with that, we're kind of going off the cuff now. I believe we covered. There's a couple of other things on my list that I was seeing on social media to talk with you about. But next year technically is the inauguration. Again, shout out to Jess and Julia who are working on that. After the celebration, Mayor, what when you talk about that community engagement, we've already seen some staff changes at high levels. Shout out to Tiffany, who recently departed. We named Jess as well. Mayor, I love you. I ain't being shady or nothing. One of the things that we've talked about, and I've used you as an example, stuff doesn't hit your desk that people want you to resolve, and the mayor didn't, usually until it's in crisis mode. Your model is proactive, get it before, but you're the mayor. Let's keep it 100. And sometimes I often have to remember that. That community engagement piece, Mayor, when you parse something off, something to be followed up on and handled, and it may not be, how in your second term with all this other stuff going on, will you do internal accountability to ensure that your vision is really being executed in a timely, follow-up, appropriate manner?
Yeah, I've talked a lot about that with Claire so far, who's our new chief of staff, and a lot of folks across the cabinet, as it really goes both ways, right? I think in terms of city departments, we have to have a sense centrally of what everyone's working on, but also every department wants to know what we're hearing. Sort of, there needs to be sort of a nerve center also to get the information out, whether it's from coming in from ONS or from our cultural liaisons or other places where we're in direct contact with community members. And then how does that feedback loop actually happen at the departmental level when they might not have the resources themselves to be in every single neighborhood all the time? But there are other parts of City Hall that are like that. So we need, what's clear is that, one, we need a lot more again, going back to the flow of information and just processes that keep that happening, no matter whether it's a stressful time, something has happened, or if it's just quiet. It's anyway, all the time that has to be a priority. And then creating opportunities for us to really have a shared agenda that is built up from residents as well, so that everybody knows, we are aiming to be a home for everyone and the best city for families. And that means costs are being driven down as much as possible. That means a sense of convenience across any way you're dealing with City Hall, right? Permitting for your business or registering for school or having a special event. And that means community. What are all the ways that we're supporting people coming together in spaces like libraries or senior centers or special events or different collaborations that we have?
I asked that because it's interesting times that we're going into, and again, there's a lot to juggle of overseeing all this other stuff. Who knows, where you'll have to go, Mayor. I usually do. I won't say I usually do the short-term stuff, so the things that you can give a short answer to. And you know what? Matter of fact, I'm sorry. You told us why you went to Nova Scotia a couple of weeks ago. Article draw. Your office, I think, revealed it. I think it came from the city. $13,000 was spent for you to go to Nova Scotia. First thought in my head was, as a mayor, you don't travel alone. That was the police time. They had to get there. They probably had OT. Can you give us, where you can, ethically or whatever, what is the quick synopsis of $13,000 to Nova Scotia?
Okay, I need to look at all the numbers fully again to get.
All right.
So we'll have the exact dollar amounts, but just so people have a sense, I went up with my family, but the city, no taxpayer dollars were used to pay for anything that like my kids' airfare or Connor's Flight or anything like that did not come out of the city dollars. They did stay in the same hotel room that I already had. We all crammed into one room, which was, I think, something like $240 a night or something. And
As
we
you
went up.
should, Mayor, because if they found out that you and Connor had separate rooms, then it'd be a whole nother commitment.
Well, I mean, the kids are 8 and 10 now, so it was getting a little loud and crunchy and just too. Anyway, we flew economy. Again, only their tickets were paid for through personally, etc. We went up with 2 staff members, one for communications and just
Obviously.
making sure, and then Phyllis, who is in charge of everything else and all the coordination, all the logistics for
Hi, Phil.
being in touch with home, being in touch with the elected officials and all those folks on the other end. Our parks commissioner came up, but that was not with taxpayer dollars. So I don't know if they corrected that in the article. We actually had reached out to ask for a correction from that. The Parks Fund has a separate, they have some public-private partnerships that allow for trips like this and other uses. So the Parks Commissioner previously has gone up under previous administrations to Nova Scotia to be part of this ceremony historically, and it's come out of this fund that is not from city budget. And then our police detail and the amazing officers that keep my family and me safe.
It just, it's just that communication. And I think, as I said before, from what I skimmed and saw, this information came out from the city, whether request or whatever, but it's just, you're a mayor. And I remember when Mayor Menino used to take Angela, you don't go to Las Vegas. There's a whole mall. This is about economy. There's a whole mall convention that mayors go to because they're trying to get the malls set up in their cities that help the economy. So I just wanted to level set that. Mayor, we are getting ready we're in the holidays right now. We talked about food inequities, and you and others, since you've been on, have said, it's going to get worse before it gets better. With all that you're doing and others, do you think that we're in the worst and coming out, or do you think it's I saw your face. Sorry.
I mean, just even what was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was, all the days are blurring together now, but yesterday there was now another announcement from the Trump administration that they're trying to come for SNAP benefits in a different way.
In the blue states.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Right. Only in the places that they have on their, that disagree with them or push back on them. And that now, by creating extra paperwork and requirements, they're really trying to, because they know now that we've gone through the first, or not, I don't know if it's the first, the last SNAP situation where even Republican senators and others were saying this is affecting, voters who had supported this federal administration, because hunger is an issue that doesn't discriminate based on your background or how you vote or anything else. It's we all need to focus on it, and we all need to do something about it. But anyway, realizing that SNAP benefits can't be taken away because kids, seniors, residents with disabilities, families rely on it. Now they're trying to make it truly political and just target blue states and find a sort of indirect way to remove people. So it's another battle that we didn't expect. And at the same time, because we mobilized to build up an infrastructure between the Boston Foundation, the city, and supporters around the city who've all pitched in, the fund that we were hoping to, we started with $1 million between the city and the Boston Foundation. We're aiming for 2 million. It's now at over $5 million. So it's not, in the scheme of things, it's still a drop in the bucket of what the need is, but it gives us a little bit of cushion and flexibility to move quickly when there is an emergency.
Mayor, as we're you and Anthony are going to just talk a little bit about the event tonight. We're a little deeper into that article that came out from the Globe into your approach to the economy around workforce development. One of the things that you didn't say the words, but you talked about issues around quality of life. We know that the holidays are very interesting, and this is my area. We have been talking about the transition and Dr. Yarblow incorporating, and are you aware if there's going to be any more efforts or intentionality to quell some of the impact of the things we're talking about. We know that the holidays are very hard for people. They self-medicate and then may not always make the right decisions. It's not just our young people. Side note, I saw you did something with youth jobs year round. But it's not just our young people. Men and violence. Where is that, Mayor? And you know, I do stuff. It comes in real time. Where does that fall in the priorities for your second administration?
Yeah, Dr. Yablo has been incredible in totally building a new way of kind of really, I say new in terms of it's new in terms of what we're doing in City Hall, but not new in terms of the ideas and where they've been coming from community for a long time. But I think we've been much more effective as an organization of actually keeping that regular rhythm and bringing more people, all of the community members who are doing the work on the ground are part of the infrastructure and need to be in communication that way. So we built up the resources. He's now overseeing a much larger team, and that is going to continue to be the way that you can't have any other sense of stability or opportunity or planning for the future if you're worried about survival and safety. And so that's always the primary foundation that we're building on.
Thank you for that. The one other thing I would ask, Mayor, and now, you know, there's, and shout out to a brother in the community. I think it was Chip Greenwich. He now calls you Michelle Menino. You can be a little more, less respectfully. You're a politician. You want to think about expanding and keeping where you are, keeping the impact where you are. And then also, I ain't gonna bring that up. You know, maybe other aspirations to do other things, but in a second term, Mayor, that you have a vote of confidence from the voters. Does that give you a little more oomph? I'm going somewhere with this. One of the things that we've talked about over the years is that post that Dr. Yablo is in often needs from the mayor's office because of all the politics and dynamics that go on within city government. In your second administration, are you going to put that oomph behind Isaac so he can do what it is that he needs to do?
That is the goal. And so I don't want to speak for Isaac and the amazing work that he's doing and the plans that he has in community. But what I will say is that, you know, this job, like any job, there's a learning curve, and every day I try to be better at my small slice of this. You know, I get to work alongside 23,000 other city workers who are really good at their jobs and also trying to do better every day. And a lot of what I've learned over the last 4 years, and that I heard a lot on the campaign trail, even people who were excited to support our administration continuing on and said, I'm voting for you, and I want you to hear this bit of how I trust you enough to tell you how I need you to grow and step up more, or how I need the city to be better at doing this thing. So I take that very seriously and don't see it as, you know, now that we got in, we can, you know, do whatever we want because it means that everything we did was right. There was a lot of learning around how to build in community and with community, how to be clear about what we're aiming for in a way that lays out the immediate steps rather than it kind of feeling like we're doing a bunch of things all over the place and maybe they're not tied together and aren't sure how they add up to each other. And really just finding ways to be present. I think and plan that because we won't be starting from the same place of scrambling to manage the pandemic, hiring up all these empty positions, 3 mayors in a year, and kind of stepping into what that meant for the organization. We're moving from a place of real momentum. I'll say it again, and it feels really good to have a sense of how to do the job, to kind of make all the parts of the like you basically have I'm trying, is it an airplane, is it a refrigerator, I'm trying to think of what, like machine or whatever. You kind of have a sense of how it works now, but how do you really now think outside the box and not just kind of meet the minimum standards but take things to the next level?
That Mayor, and you know, I'll just say how can I say this? There's just you and I. I'll say what we talked about. last time we met, because that is that community piece and what I think they used to call it the 360 exchange or wrap around, peer review and stuff like that. So Mayor, we're going to let you go. One of our guests is held up. And so we're going to let you go. But we will not see you before, and I'm going to ask this publicly. I think the first Wednesday in January is right before the inauguration. One word for the inauguration, Mayor. What do you got up your sleeve? I already heard purple, of course, is going to be a theme. Inauguration. I know, Jessica. 30 seconds on the inauguration, because Michael's going to kill me. 30 seconds on the inauguration.
I'm really excited. It's the swear.
Oh, the devil. Well, the inauguration, let's just say it's going to be it's going to be dope. I'll give her a second to see if she can hop back in. No one may have responded. She probably got a phone call. We are waiting on our guest to come in a second. If he does not make it, we'll speak with his co-guest. I hear they're doing something in the background. All right, there he is. All right, we're going to go ahead and let the mayor.
Oh, sorry.
You're good, Mayor, and I have Anthony as well. So we're going to do this real quick. Mayor, you were getting ready to talk about just one word, 30 seconds on the inauguration, and then Anthony's the Globe also, as we started out, highlighted what you did with the workforce development, and then we have Building Wealth in Boston, the event on tomorrow. So I wanted you two to touch base real quick, Mayor. But inauguration, oh crap! All right, the mayor at the end really got signal stuff, so we're just going to go ahead and let her go and get upstairs the baby mirror. Anthony, it didn't work out.
How you doing, man? Sorry I'm late.
You're good. I wanted the article dropped about the mayor's focus of going into workforce development. There's the event that's happening tonight, and so I wanted you to just chat about that real quick. But Anthony, welcome back. Thanks for coming back to the Java Cafe. I'm loving your background there, brother. That's a little different one. So let's jump right in. We have Katie who's going to come in, and you're going to introduce her. But you did say when you was with us a couple of weeks ago that there is more work that the Globe is doing around equity and economics. And tomorrow night is the Building Wealth in Boston event. And so you and Katie and I are going to chat about it real quick. But if you could just give us a level set of what this event is again, and then introduce Katie, and we'll bring her right in.
Okay, so tomorrow's event, December 4th at Roxbury Community College, we will be having an event that's going to, I guess, is set up to educate the community, right? It's a two-part conversation. The first part is going to be giving context to what we've been doing in collaboration with Real Talk the past year. And the second part is how do we move forward with the information that's been shared with the audience. Katie, who will be joining us in just a minute, who is a Globe reporter, she'll be moderating the conversation with 4 esteemed guests. And it's going to be a great time tomorrow night for sure.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and bring Katie in, who's going to be the moderator for the panel tomorrow night. And I know that I believe Toronto, I have it up right here. So if you guys are in the comments, I put the registration information on James and also Java with Jimmy. Katie, welcome to the Java Cafe. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Your audio is awesome.
Okay, good.
I did on this side of the desk, when you have someone that has the audio and the camera like Anthony and I as well, it just means a lot. So Katie, please introduce yourself. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. And then also, how does this topic relate to you? We know that building wealth is interesting for BIPOC individuals. It's interesting for women. And so give us, toward the end there, sort of what is your connection, to this topic of building wealth in Boston?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've worked in journalism for a long time, and I've written and covered general assignment. I've worked the arts. I used to review comedy and dining. I was a music editor for a while. But most recently, I've been writing about income inequality and low-wage workers, and it has definitely been the most meaningful work that I've done. Being able to tell the stories of people living on the margins and elevating their voices, lots of times people who don't get their stories heard, and also pointing out issues that people need to realize are happening in their community around them, and hold people accountable, hold organizations accountable, lawmakers, and just show people this is what's happening in the world, and you need to know what's going on, and we need to do things to address it. And so and hopefully what we do sparks change, right? And so I recently joined this Money, Power, and Equality team that's hosting this event, and partnered with the Real Talk Network. And do you want me to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, you can. And tell us like some of what, and Anthony, you can chime in here as well. What were some of the things that came out? And I know, you want to save some of the stuff for tomorrow night, but we like to drop info here. What were some of the things, Katie, and Anthony, jump in as well. What were some of the things that you heard from the Real Talk smaller conversations leading up to what you were sharing with them based on your research and findings?
Right. So there were 150 people that talked in over the summer in 26 different small group conversations. And the topic was wealth, and trying to get them to talk about personal stories, what it meant to them, and what questions they had about it in their own lives and in their own community. And people talked a lot about gentrification and displacement. Many people said they didn't know much about managing money, like they hadn't learned it from their parents. There was a woman in East Boston who said she had inherited a culture of debt from her family because of their reliance on credit cards. And there was an overwhelming frustration with not having the financial literacy to build enough wealth to live a comfortable life. A lot of people talked about that.
Yeah.
Anthony, what was it for you in the findings that stood out?
Well, I didn't do too much of the research as Katie did because, we're in two different lanes. However, I did participate in one of the conversations just so I can kind of get a feel for it myself. And to echo what Katie was saying, a lot of hurt, a lot of frustration in the conversations around displacement and wealth inequality and things of that nature. So it was eye-opening, to say the least, as to what these conversations were meant to do. And from what I understand, they've definitely succeeded in doing so.
Katie, I want to ask, based on, what you said, that there was a level of frustration, it leads me to ask the question that what is the intentionality of tomorrow night's event? Because this could have come together. You and Anthony could have pulled, you could have did the usual invitation, all the key players and all this, how some things are often done. What is the intentionality of tomorrow night in making this public and sharing this? What a lot of people have already lived and know. What is the intentionality of tomorrow night, and what can folks expect to walk away with? And then Anthony, we'll talk in a second about, because my understanding is this isn't a one and done sort of topic and event. And so, Katie, what can folks expect, and what was the intentionality of going public with this and having folks come in to hear this discussion and panel about it? And a little bit came up, Anthony, when I talked with Tehran at the Globe Summit, the panel that he was on, he talked about that. And so, Katie, I put a lot, I'm not a globe level reporter, so I'll pack in 8 questions into one.
I do the same thing.
Okay, then I don't feel so bad anymore.
I know it's not a great practice, but sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I just asked you like 5 questions.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, so the panel is really about getting, keeping this topic alive, getting it out into the community, getting as many it's at Roxbury Community College, right? So we're trying to go where there are a lot of people who are interested in this topic and who want to share their stories and also want to learn more about it. The panel that we have people from UMass Boston, Lorna Vera, we have Tehran from Eastern Bank Foundation, investments, and the Real Talk organizer, Ron Bell, the great Ron Bell. And so just the idea is to talk about the structural issues behind a lot of wealth inequality. Why is it that a lot of Black and Brown people have such little wealth and struggle to get by in so many ways? What's happening structurally in our society, going back hundreds of years, that has set up this system that's so unequal? And so the idea is to talk about that, also to give some ideas for how to build your credit, how to get financial literacy, where to go, offer people resources as well, like, concrete things that they can do or places they can go to learn more, right? I've had a few people reach out to me about getting involved, just from the story that ran in the paper. A guy who's a retired banker, he was saying, I want to do something to help people with financial planning, volunteer to do it. How can I do that? And I connected him with Ron, so making these kinds of connections is so important, because a lot of people want to help and they don't know where to go, or people want to learn things and they're just not sure where to look. So we're putting some of those pieces together for people.
Anthony, talk to me. You referenced a couple of seconds ago about you're at Boston Globe Media. Katie's a reporter. You're in two different lanes. What is the intentionality of MPI? And if you can also talk a little bit about the perspective of coming out tomorrow, and then what can we expect, that's coming up next from the work that both of you and others are doing there. And we have to shout out our wonderful friend. Is we cannot be together and not mention Janae Osterholt.
Yes.
She will get us.
For me, MPI is we're going to have two different ideas of what the goals are. They're going to have the literal sense, and I think for me, it's going to be more of a realistic sense in that we want to use this platform to be a bridge to share information to those that haven't been able to receive it and are in dire need of it. There's that word again, dire, right? Yep. So, that's, and I think we would align on that being a goal of MPI. I think to add on to what Katie said about what to expect tomorrow, I think in addition to all of what Katie mentioned, I think there's also a real personal level to people feeling, typically you feel like you're alone in these situations, right? I think after tomorrow, people will realize that this is not an individualized thing. It's like, oh, I'm not alone in these things. A lot of other people are struggling like this as well. And I think when you have those type of emotions and feelings going into these situations, you come out of it feeling a little bit better, knowing that there's other people going through this and we can probably get through this together type of thing. So that's a big part of what I'm expecting, is that people kind of really understand, hey, there may have been things that have, deterred us from being able to get to where we are, but it doesn't mean that, we have to stop. We can keep going. We want to be able to share information so that people can go and know the right way to go about doing things related to like financial literacy specifically.
Anthony, I'll start this last part with you here. And then Katie, I'll come to get your perspective as well. I referenced to the mayor, and I'm always referencing since last November, the times that we're in. I think the timing of this is most apropos. Presumably, this is something that you all have been working on. I think Janae first mentioned this almost a year and a half ago, just that it was coming. Yeah. So there was some intentionality, but in the times that we're in, I just find that I'm hearing from both of you a communal financial literacy, and not the individual thing. And then the mayor referred to, the individuals support the economy and the businesses and whatnot. But I'm hearing like a tribe, communal support to economic equity.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I feel like, all right. I feel like, we have to, there's an old saying, you can get somewhere faster or more efficient as a group as opposed to by yourself. I can't remember the exact phrase, but I think this is one of those situations where, we'll come together, we have the resources that we'll share. And, as long as people are willing to do the work, I think we'll be fine. We'll get to where we got to get to.
Katie, your perspective on that. I'm hearing, because you both of you mentioned that, Anthony, you said a few minutes ago that, there was a realization that people were like, oh, it's not just me. And I'll be very transparent and honest with you. Fourth quarters, as an entrepreneur, 6 years in it, this is the first fourth quarter where there's, I see a little bit of a black over the line. And y'all know what I mean. I'm a little bit in the black. My last few fourth quarters were, oh boy, I'll be transparent in this subject. I went $10,000 into debt last year, trying to keep things afloat. And so I didn't reach out to anyone outside of, hey, I need some help. I did feel alone. I did, outside of the people that knew and were, trying to look out for me. But oh God, there's so much, Anthony, I can go a whole different place. There's a mental health impact that has an impact on our physicality and our health and whatnot. And so I just, hearing the communal tribe, and we're going into Kwanzaa. And folks are going to get me. cooperative economics. And so, Katie, I don't know if I'm doing this just because I know you're a reporter, but there was about 10 in that one there. But do you feel the sense of communal financial literacy? And then how do you feel about the timing of this with where we are? Because there was the other piece that came out that people are working in some very interesting corporations, but they still need SNAP. So a lot there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Katie.
Well, I mean, the globe should always be all about community, right? We should reflect the people who live in Boston and Massachusetts and New England. And we haven't always done that. And I think we have improved that a lot in recent years. But it makes it, if we pay attention to the people's lives who are out there and share their insights and experiences and struggles, if we reflect that, we can learn from it. We need to learn from all the lives of everyone around us. And in that way, we can build a stronger, healthier community. Knowledge is power, they say, right? Information we need to give people. And what we're here for is to learn things, maybe, make it clear, break it down for people, and then share it. Like, here's what you need to know about what's happening in your community. And that includes, people who are doing well and people who are at the bottom and people who are in the middle, all of us. That's what makes a community. It's all of us. And if we help lift each other up, it just makes us all stronger. It should be the goal of so many organizations, but I think the media and the Globe in particular is in a really important position to help facilitate that.
Anthony, I like Katie.
Katie's good, right?
Did I answer all your questions?
She's good, right?
Not even on that part, just what you said, in the answers. And so, Anthony, I was about to ask you who should be in the room tomorrow, but Katie just answered that. Everybody and all of us. And that, Anthony, I'll ask you to speak to a person that may be watching right now. Is like, yeah, Jimmy, this is good. I'll hear when they come back on from you and may not feel the challenge or may feel challenged just because of what's going on. One leads to a tech question. Is this being virtually streamed? And then two, what is it that you would say to them to maybe try to motivate them to say, hey, just taking chances before to participate and engage and get educated. What is it that you would say to them, Anthony, to motivate them to be a part of this and other efforts that not only help them individually, but then as they rise, so does their family and communities?
I mean, what do you have to lose, right? I think it's just a matter of, you don't know what you don't know. Come and get a little bit of information. There's got to be something in there for everybody. Come check us out. I would keep it simple. I wouldn't belabor the point. I would just say, come check us out. There's got to be something there for you, for sure.
Katie, what would you say to that question? One question.
What's funny is I don't even remember what the question was. Maybe I can pivot and just tell you something else that I wanted to say.
All right, well, to pivot and tell that out of all the questions, you remember the other ones, but the single one you do. All right, Katie.
Well, you said Anthony, so I just drifted off. You didn't warn me what was coming up.
I was saying, well, you already answered it, to be fair. You said all the top, the middle, and everybody in between should be in the room tomorrow. Well, what else do you want to share about tomorrow?
Okay, let me leave you with one other point, which I thought was really something that really struck me from the conversations was the hunger that people had to have the financial freedom to spend more time with their loved ones. There was one quote, one participant in Roxbury said, when you are wealthy, you have access to a different schedule than everyone else. And I wrote that down, and that just really stuck with me because it's so true, right? If you have two jobs and kids and you're taking care of your other family members and trying to pay the bills and, and have, if you're on SNAP, like we talked about, like all of the hoops you have to jump through to get the benefits that you need, you don't have that financial freedom. And I've thought about that a lot, just the scheduling thing and just the financial freedom to have time.
It's Shad said facts in there, and also Adele Irvin was saying to Anthony, to your part, that people need to know that they're not alone. I can resonate with that because it is entrepreneur. You end up doing everything, and I'm rushing out of here trying to make it to the barbershop to come back and whatnot. And it just, you know, it that time factor. And Katie, as I said before, there's a mental health piece to all of this because, you know, spending time with family and whatnot, it decreases cortisol and you have a sense of belonging and, you know, things like that. And so it's just, this is more than, you know, just an event. You go to RCC tomorrow night at 6 p.m. The registration link is in the comments on James and Java. But I would encourage you that if you can, I'm popping out tomorrow night with some folks to get to meet Katie. And also, you know, just chat and get a sense of the room and who's there, because this is something I had a pastor on this week, you guys, and he said that there are two things that are issues in marriage or relationships. And one of them was money. I won't say what the other one was, but one of them was money. And it's not just the money and the ability to pay the bills, the spending the time with the family, the sense of community, Anthony referred. So I was excited about hearing and coming tomorrow. I'm just a little bit more excited now. Katie, I'm going to be watching you to see how many questions you give your panelists in one.
I'll try and limit it.
Both Ron is good on his feet, and shout out to President Jefferson as well, and to Ron and our good friend Glenn Lloyd will be there, and Lorna Rivera will be a part of it as well. So we'll have representation from Eastern Bank Foundation, UMass Boston, Nectar Community Investments, and also RCC, the host, and the Boston Globe, and the partner with this event is Real Talk Network, our good and longtime friend Ron Bell. And so again, everyone, the registration link is in the comments on both pages, and I would encourage you to come out. Last question, and I should have saw this somewhere already, but I'll ask it because folks are wondering, I'm sure. Will this be streamed? Is there a virtual option?
There will be a virtual option, yes.
Okay.
We're trying to fill the room first.
I get it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So look out for those. There'll be an option for that, I believe, tomorrow
at 5:55.
Yeah.
I hear there will be snacks in person.
Yeah,
too.
there'll be refreshments.
You can't get that on the stream.
Yeah. There'll be refreshments. You can't get
Except for the snacks, at least.
Now, if y'all were specific and said refreshments and snacks.
Well, no, I'm not going to say snacks. It's a little bit more than snacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I didn't want to
Come get a hot plate. Yes, come get a hot plate.
Okay. Anthony, that might give people just some encouragement to come. But no, I really appreciate both of you, not only in what you're doing, but the energy here today with the investment I sense from both of you that are committed. And it also represents that the Globe, is willing to make this investment and focus on this as well. And so I really appreciate both of you being here. Thank you for your patience because the mayor went on a little bit over. But I appreciate both of you. And I will see you all tomorrow evening. And I'll keep reminding people to register as we go on today and tomorrow as well.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Great.
Did I miss anything, Katie?
Nope, I think you covered it.
All right, Anthony, I got everything.
You got everything. Tomorrow night, December 4th,
Place.
RCC. Yep, we're good.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. I'm going to go give a little commentary after because I've been on here for 90 minutes. And so we'll talk. And again, I look forward to meeting you, Katie and Anthony. I'll see you tomorrow.
You too. Thanks.
Right, thanks for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all. I appreciate it. So, folks, tomorrow, please remember to go out to RCC at 6 p.m. Oh, boy. I really got excited today. Hats all crooked. 90 minutes, Jesus. Okay. I'm tired. And I have to be to my barber in 30 minutes. For those of you that are able to, for those of you that watch every day, we won't be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. We will be live at 12:30 p.m. for WGBH Amplifies James Jimmy Hills, host of Java with Jimmy, tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. I have the honor of speaking with Executive Director Joseph Bennett of Yard Time and also CEO and founder and Democratic strategist Anthony Davis. We're going to speak with them about the work they're doing. We're going to talk about if they feel that as Black men, if they're being seen. Also in the political realm, what's going on with Black men in the political realm. So tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. At here live, and we'll be at GBH. We are only on Facebook on James at GBH. So tune in tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. and we will see you all then. All right. Have a great day, everybody. And oh God, I still got the cookie over here and the chutney. That would be good on some pasta with some chickpeas and maybe some grilled chicken. I don't know why the chickpeas, maybe because of the Indian profile. And I love my kuchala, which is another condiment that y'all don't know nothing about. Only the Trinidadians do. All right, I'm out of here. Mother, thank you. Carlton, what's up, brother? Good to see you in the room as always. All right, guys, let me get to this barbershop. And we'll see you tomorrow from the Boston Public Library News Cafe. GBH Amplifies, James Jimmy Hills, host of Java with Jimmy. I'm tired, y'all. Have a great day.